A very good evening to everyone at the sound of my voice. This is Dr. Sbu Kumalo with a very important message. Actually, just to invade your space and come to share this with you. So Dr. Sbu Kumalo is an author of a book entitled The Genesis for Possibility and a founder of a movement called The Genesis for Possibility. So here's how I want us to start this segment today. And please, wherever you're viewing this from, where it is evening, morning, whatever time, it doesn't matter. I want all of us to say this after me. Say it's possible. 3, 2, 1. It's possible. Right? Wow, that is the team behind. I actually asked them to join me when enchanting this because it is important that we all remind ourselves of possibilities. You don't need to remind yourself of problems. You don't need to remind yourself of the challenges you are facing. You wake up in the morning, it's right on your face, right? You don't need to remind yourself rather of the pain you are feeling because it's a constant reminder. Would say, I am there. You feel the pain. But it is an encouraging that every time you and I get to remind ourselves that it's possible. It's possible you can come out of anything. It's possible you can build, erect whatever you want in life. It's possible you can be what you want to be. Whatever it is you're facing now, it may have been going on for the longest of time. And I want you to urge it in your heart that it is, that's right, it's possible. So we are here today to speak about the importance of personal development in challenging times. I do not know what you're going through. I don't know what's happening in your life. I don't know what it is that you are aiming for, you are gunning for, because here's a psychological thing about human beings. We are built uniquely. And as part of our uniqueness, we are built with this gift or this uniqueness called being incentive-driven. That means no matter where you may be in life, all of us, we have something to achieve. Just think about it. A very wealthy person who walked out of his mansion this morning going to his office is expecting something for today, right? A middle-density individual who came out from his middle-density home and community, going to work or for business, whatever it is that they're having for the day, they're all hoping for something. The gentleman or the lady at the intersection, on the streets, wherever you may find them, begging for coins, begging for alms. They are expecting something. You and I today, I am here sitting here looking at a camera. I am expecting that you hear my voice. I'm expecting not only do you hear my voice, but you really get the message we are here to deliver in order for you to be successful. And I hope as you're listening to this, you are aiming, you are welcoming the idea that you want to receive something from this that is going to aid and help you in your quest for success. So here's the point. How important it is for you to develop yourself in challenging times. I just want to narrate a story before I actually give you my feed on that. I grew up in the far west of Johannesburg, in a very small township. Well, it used to be small, but it's growing, and people who know it will agree to that fact. I grew up in a very small township then called Muhlakeng. It has since developed until today. So in Muhlakeng, as we grew up as young children, I was a young boy at that time, we used to have, back in the day, what we used to call a dog fight, right? So I bring my dog, you bring yours, bring it to a certain corner or a certain field, have them contest against each other. And whichever dog wins, the owner gets to claim the prize, right? So it happened for a very long time, especially during school holidays and in peak seasons of the year, say your summer and so forth. But then it happened after a certain amount of months, rather. This particular uncle would bring his own dogs, 2 dogs, and would have his dogs contest against each other and not against any other dog present at that time, right? Picture this if you will. So whenever he would have his dogs fight against each other or contest in any way, he would always specifically bet on a particular dog, which is his. And every time he bet on whichever dog, that dog would win the contest. Do you get it? So we bring our dogs. This man brings his 2 dogs. They contest against each other. He picks one to win, votes or vouchers for one to win, and poof, it wins. But then after a long time, we happen to question it. And no, man, this man is cheating us, right? And you know how Khodman, Elokshine, Khodman, elderlies would rather work on our nerves each time they pull a trick of being clever, especially when you were young. So then we realized, Zuguti, he's playing a trick here. And then secretly we called him aside and said, no, Khodman, tell us, why every time when you pick a certain dog that it would win the contest, it always wins? You never lose a bet. He said something that I would like to start my topic today with. He said, Sbu, during the week, I feed the dog I want to win. Think about it. So he has 2 dogs. He knows his 2 dogs will be contesting on Saturday or whichever holiday we have picked. But he will feed this particular one to gain strength so that when they both get to contest, he knows no matter how hard the other dog can fight or can contest, this other one, the one he feeds, always wins. And isn't that true about life itself? Because truth be told, we are going through challenging times. And this is what he had to say. In preparation for the contest, I feed the dog I want to win. And here's what I want to share with you. Feed what feeds you. If you want to be successful in life, if you want to come out of the dungeons of being of unpleasantness, if you want to come out of a hole of being dissatisfied, if you want to come out of failure and come out as one triumphant, as one successful, in life, you need to have the idea of what it means feeding what feeds you. Here's a question I would like to ask you. And it's a very trivial question, if I may. Umbuzo nje, or simple. Everyone today has received this question probably 1,000 times, if I'm not mistaken. And this question is, how are you? Right? Rich guy received the question, rich lady received the question, middle density individual received the question, a youth received the question, elderly received the question, the poor received the question. So it's not the question I want to base my talk on, but it's the response to the question I want to talk about. That when you were questioned, how are you today? What was your response? You probably answered the question without even thinking about it. How are you? No, I'm fine. And just went about your business. How are you? No, I'm grand. And you just left it like that. But if you were to be honest to a question that says, how are you? In all honesty, what would you say? How honest can you be to the question, to the answer rather, of the question? Now, it doesn't matter how you feel as I'm asking you, how are you? You may be saying, Sbu, I'm not okay. And that's the reason why when I heard you were going to be live on Excomedia, I had to leave everything aside and glue myself to the screen because I want to hear encouragement. And here's what I want to tell you. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to find yourself in a place where you're really reaching out for help, reaching out to come out of a shell, whatever shell you may be in. It may be a shell of pain, it may be a shell of disappointment, it may be a shell of anger, it may be a shell of resentment, it may be a shell of unsuccessful relationship. Whatever it is, it's okay not to be okay. And reason I'm bringing this up, I'm enlightening you, basing my argument that in order for you to come out of that shell, you need to feed what feeds you. Some people are not successful in life. It's because they want to amass progress from the external. Bengayifumananga ngaphakathi. I'll never forget la ngikhula khona emhlakeni, where izalukazi neingwevu zaleza inkathi would always call us and say, mntanam, into isemntwini. Meaning until you find it within yourself, you will never find it about yourself. Reach down inside and find the reasons why. You need to feed what feeds you. We sometimes look at people who are successful in life and we always wonder, why are they making it? They touch this, it turns to gold. They attempt that, they always succeed. It is because at one particular point, they had to feed what feeds them. The topic we are bringing today is the importance of personal development in challenging times. How do you develop yourself in challenging times in order for you to be successful? And here it is. Feed what feeds you. 3 things I want to share with you. Because you're probably asking, Sbu, how do I come out of this? Sbu, how do I make it out of my pain? How do I step out of darkness, of negativity, and be the person I want to be in order for me to be successful by a mile? 3 things I want you to focus yourself onto in order for you to be successful. Point number 1, if you want to come out victorious, and if you want to develop yourself in these challenging times, because truth be told, these times are challenging. Times are hard. I'm probably talking to you now, you lost your job last month. And I was going to months to come, what are you going to put on the table? Times are hard so much that most people are just masquerading through life. You just camouflaging through life. You are not what you seem to be. Because life, you are going through a tough time. Everyone has their own kryptonite. Everyone has their own tough time which they go through. You either are from a tough time, or you are in a tough time, or you just walked out of a tough time to a certain tough time. All of us have something to do with tough time. And 3 things I want to share with you, which I hope will be an encouragement until the end of this episode. Point number 1, I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to have faith in yourself. This would be a waste of time if I directed the first point on believing in something else or someone else if that is not yourself. I have a privilege of working with executives of many companies, private and public sectors. And I remember in one engagement, I was with CEOs, executives of huge companies. And I asked them a very silly question. And to those who've attended my sessions, you know exactly, I'm very charismatic, you know, I'm never too serious. So I asked them this silly question, what's the most important ingredient when brewing coffee? What's the most important ingredients there? And if you, as you would guess, some would say it's tea, meaning the tea bag, or it's coffee, it's sugar. You can't have tea without sugar. You can't have sugar, you can't have tea without water, right? You can't have water. So everyone came up with a number of things. To a certain point, one said, you can't have tea without saucer, you know? So after a huge commotion that went about 2 minutes, I stood up and said, okay, umoya pants. And I redirected the focus by saying, the most important ingredient when you're making coffee is not the tea, the coffee, the ingredients themselves, is the individual making the coffee, right? So in the speck of everything that is happening around us, the most important individual is yourself. If you and I were to take a beautiful picture, a selfie, and I send you this selfie, the first person you're going to look for in that selfie is not me, it's you. So until you get the grip of understanding the importance of believing in yourself, you can only wish to get there. And that's the only thing you'll ever do, and that is to wish. And many people are wishing to be progressive. Many people are wishing to be successful because the only thing they wish for is the external and nothing from Gapagat. The first point of feeding what feeds you, feed you. Start believing in yourself. Stop acting a life. Stop living a life that is injected by people's perspectives of yourself. Stop acting people's ideas about you and start working on your own ideas. Who are you? We are now working ourselves, preparing ourselves for the youth month. And many people, many youth, you're probably listening to me, Konamanji, you are so obsessed about external improvement. You want to wear this, you want to drive that, you want to live in that house, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if all of that you want to achieve in the absence of believing in yourself, chances are you will get it. But ayizuhlala, because it's not from within. Believe in yourself. Believe you can do it. Believe, though you've failed a number of times. Dr. Sbu, I've failed many times. Are you telling me for me to continue doing what I want to do? The answer is yes. Continue doing it. Because remember, no matter how many times you fail, failure is not the opposite of success, but failure is part of success. Go and have a conversation with Albert Einstein. He will tell you that many times he failed, many times. But until he got it right, he never gave up because he failed at one point. He never threw in the towel because he failed 10th time. Edison, who created the bulb, even confessed in one of the articles that he tried 1,001 times, never got it right until 1,001. That he got it right, and poof, today we have bulbs all over the world. Never be afraid of failing. But you'll never understand what I'm saying if you're far from understanding the importance of feeding you. Feed you. And to all the executives, to all the parents who are listening to me now, life has been difficult enough that you can't start today not believing in yourself. Life has been difficult enough, and you can be difficult on yourself based on the challenges you are facing. Believe in yourself. Believe you can. It was one great philosopher who said, anyone who believes they can and those who believe they can't are both equally correct. So uma uzofika namhlanje ungitshela ukuthi no, inzima ngeke ngikhone, in your own right, you are correct. And you are also correct if you're going to step up today. Look at yourself in the mirror, dead in your eyes, and tell yourself, I can do it. I can do it. And psychology backs up the thesis. Psychology says anyone who tells themselves more than 4 times that they can, eventually your core belief system adjusts to the possibility that you can. And guess what? You definitely will. You definitely will. The idea of empowering yourself in challenging times, number 1, is to feed you. Believe in yourself. And point number 2, feed your mind. You can never resurrect anything you've crucified in your head. Think about it. You can't believe anything to be true about you if it never started in your head. Hence, the Golden Book says, as a man or a woman think, so they are. And I continue, that as a man and a woman think, so they are, and as they continue to think, so they remain. You will forever amount to what you feed in your head. If you believe you can, you can. Best believe in your heart of hearts, you can. If you believe you can't, awuthakathwanga, you won't. So ichiza lokuphila, the remedy to life, amounts exactly to what you feed in your head. Think with me, if you will. Picture in your head a garden on one side and picture a bush on the other side, right? Ihlathi ngala, ingadi ngala. Definitely at one point or the other, whatever you find in the garden, it is somewhere in the bush. But why when you get married, why when you go for celebration, why when you host parties, you don't do it in the bush, you do it in the garden? It's because the bush doesn't have order. The garden has order. So liken a mind of a person who is not successful like that of a bush. Things are not working out because in their head. Things are not in order. That's what the scripture means when it says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Meaning, if order is not in your head, you will never have order in your relationship. You will never have order in your finances. You will never have order in your health. You will never have order in your business because really the source of activity, which is your brain, does not have order. But like in your head, your brain as a garden, everything is in order. The orchards are in the certain corner. Lilies are packed in a certain corner. All of those, the beauty, the smell, you can feel everything because it is in order. You put your head in order, things will click together. If you set your head in order, stop working your books. Stop bothering with your finance books. Click your head. Things will come together. Stop fighting the external, expecting the internal to be okay. Click your head. Click the heels of your head, and everything is going to go right. But what you will never amount more than what we have in our head. What thoughts do you have when you look at you? Type in the comments somewhere. Uma uzibuka wena, uthini uma uzibuka? I asked this question one time, and this great, I wouldn't say great in a sense of fame or greatness, but great in a sense gutumdala. This old man says, I'm in a small mangis beggar, I just say Achashem, skepsela samudim, right? So when you look at yourself, Gempela, what do you say when you look at you? It doesn't matter about what people say about you. It doesn't matter how life has buffeted you. It matters what you say about you. If you see yourself as great, you may not be great. God is still working on you. That's why even the Golden Book, the Bible says, let the poor say, I'm rich. Mabangalindi for them to get 2 million, for them to say I'm rich. No, in their state of poverty, let them have a rich mentality. Let the sick say I'm healed. Let them not wait for the feeble knees to be strong, for them to acclaim they are healed. But in the state of weakness, let them say there is something about words when you say to yourself that is important. No one goes to the hospital to visit anyone and this person is really sick and lying on deathbed. No one goes there and say, when our fire is true. No. Noma bubona ukuthi lo muntu uyagula uyashona. You find encouraging words because there is something about words. What do you say when you look at you? Do you see a champion or do you see a chimp? Do you see a champion or do you see a chicken? Do you see an eagle rather or do you see a chicken? Do you see yourself on top or do you see yourself at the bottom? Do you see yourself as a difference maker or do you see yourself as a flock follower? It matters what you say to you as the way you're feeding. So let's recap. The first one I said, you feed you. Believe in yourself. Second one, feed your brain. Read a book. Get a book. We are now publishing the new edition of the Genesis for Possibility. First edition went great in my country, South Africa, where I'm from. The second edition is now about discovering the possibilities within you. Read a book every morning. Whatever you do, feed your brain. Don't wake up to social media. Don't wake up to anything that is going to spoil your day. Psychology says whatever you do, the first 20 minutes of the morning dictates the rest of the day. Meaning if you start well, usuku lwakho, first 20 minutes, do something positive, it influences the rest of the day. You have what it takes, but you need to feed what feeds you. Point number 3 of feeding what feeds you, here it is. I want to speak at one point in Mpumalanga, and I was met by a very, very disturbing scene where I drove past a certain place which had a dam. And now there was a tree in the middle of the dam and a tree outside of the dam. So simple logic would assume that the tree in the middle of the water is supposed to be lively. Do you agree with that? 100%. Why? Because it is in the water. Right? So we need to water the garden for the garden to flourish. So if the tree is inside the water, it is a simple assumption that it's going to be lively, but that was not the case. Hence, I had to stop everything, look at what I was seeing, the scenery, and really get to study it. The tree in the middle of the water did not have life. It was lifeless. But the tree outside the water was green, was lively. It had birds in it. It had nesting apagati. Oh, everything was going on. And I said, no. There has got to be something wrong. Why? Because I think the tree in the middle of the water is supposed to have life. And how many of you find yourself in circumstances where you think things were not supposed to go the way they are going? You don't have no control over it. But then I understood the tree in the middle of the water had one problem. Because when we study the ecosystem, when we study plantation or the plants or gardening, we understand that whenever the leaves fall, they fall to nurture the soil where the tree is planted, to give life back to the tree. But now the tree in the water, whenever the leaves would fall, the leaves would be swept away by the water and it didn't have enough to feed the soil that it can feed it. However, the tree next to the water, whenever the leaves would fall, they would nurture the soil. The soil will give life back with moisture to the tree. That's why it was lively. Hence the idea of feeding what feeds you. Number 1, I said, feed you, feed your belief. Number 2, feed your brain, feed your thoughts. Number 3, feed the most important thing, feed your relationship with your source. And let me be bold enough in this platform, ladies and gentlemen, to tell you that my source is God. And the stronger I build my relationship with God, I am feeding me. 85% of my progress, of my success, is not because I worked hard. It's a result of who I am spiritually. The reason I'm here today, thank you so much for the team that has invited me to be part of this podcast, to be part of this session. It is because of who I am spiritually. Feed what feeds you. If prayer is what feeds you, pray more. If singing songs of joy is what feeds you, listen to more songs, sing more songs. If walking in meditation is what feeds you, feed what feeds you. But what we can never succeed more than how we feed ourselves. And it is the greatest injustice to God to pray for something you're not willing to feed. To pray for progress you're not willing to maintain. To pray for success you're not willing to develop. To pray for a relationship you're not willing to maintain. It is wrong, Bagwetu, if you want to be successful in life, but there's nothing you are giving in order for you to receive. One word comes out of what I'm trying to say is reciprocity, is niga. If I'm going to give, I'm expecting to receive. So if I'm going to feed what feeds me, I'm going to feed myself to believe in myself, feed my thoughts so I can put my life in order, feed my relationship with my Creator, with God. We are going to the youth month. And as we are heading to the youth month, people are having plans already. People will be traveling, but I'm asking myself, how many in the youth month, how many youth in the youth month will click the heels of their head and say, I'm nothing without my Creator? Youth, I think on the 15th, I'll be speaking, 15th of June, I'll be speaking in Polokwane in one mega church, and we'll be having thousands of young people up here, and this is going to be my message. If we want to be successful as young people, we need to have the audacity, not just the faith for us to receive, but also the faith for us to keep, maintain, and develop the relationship we have with God. So I don't know who this is for, but we just felt in our hearts to come together to put this content, to reach out to someone who says, I'm going through tough times. Life has been difficult. Life has been unfair. That's what we say. Life really has been such a turmoil that every time I take turns, life just whips my back. But I want to encourage you, you can make it in these tough times. Develop yourself. That's why abaskulisa. That's why those who brought us up would have a saying that says, impilo inzima kodwa abaphumelelayo abaqinileyo. Life can be tough, but those who succeed are those who are tougher. So be tougher than life. When things get hard, don't back down. When things become difficult, but face it. Take a step forward. Because no one in the history of humanity, there has never been a statue erected of someone that gave up in life. But all the statues of people we call heroes today is because when times were tough, they stood up. They faced it. They got the courage for them to fight a good fight, to keep the faith and keep standing in everything they do. So I'd like to thank you for your time. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity, for allowing me to invade your space, and I hope that you've learned one or two for you to be progressive. And this is how I would like to close this segment. My name is Dr. Sbu Khumalo. I'm simply born to comfort the trouble and to trouble the comfortable. I love you. God bless you.